Solar procurement for large-scale solar projects is super complex. For developers, IPPs, and EPCs looking to work more efficiently, Anza offers buyers a way to instantly compare and rank equipment based on customizable filters that best fit each project, all of which is backed by decades of solar procurement experience. So for those who don't know, Anza is the online procurement platform built by Borrego, previously one of the largest EPCs and developers in the United States. And here to explain how it all works and how dramatically it could save time and money in large-scale solar development is CEO Mike Hall.
We launched Anza because we saw that in our own EPC business and also in our own development business that there were really tremendous inefficiencies in how procurement was being done. And really, the industry wasn't utilizing what we can do with data and modern technology. And then later on top of that, we have all sorts of new risk issues like trade from UFLPA and AD/CVD.
I have to know, though, before we dig into it, because I want to get to a tutorial, why you kind of just didn't keep it to yourself? You kind of built a pretty awesome, powerful tool. Why not just keep it to Borrego?
So we did. I mean, we use these tools as proprietary. The general algorithms all came from Borrego, and they were a big part of our secret sauce, not just in EPC, but in our development business as well. We started to track how much additional profit we are generating by using these procurement optimization algorithms, and it got into the tens of millions. But the reason we decided not to just keep it to ourselves is, for 20 years, we were in the business of making money through doing projects. And that was great. But that's not really like my mission. That's not really the mission of the people who co-founded Anza with me or the people who work at Anza. We're really trying to accelerate the adoption of renewable energy. The industry was really inefficient, and that the ability for buyers to get the data they need was limited, and that companies are having to waste a tremendous amount of their valuable people time to do it.
That's a good overview. And now that we've set the stage, I was hoping you could kind of dive in and give us a tutorial. It's pretty intense. It might be tough to get through quickly, but I'm going to try to task you with it.
Anyone can come to anzarenewables.com and you can get a free account that you can get a lot of value out of, but it is a demo environment. And so there's some limitations on what you could see. And that's actually what I'm going to present today. But I'll show you some of the additional features that our subscribers and engaged customers get. This is a project-based tool. And so first what you'll do is you'll come over and you'll create a new project. And then you choose your project location. And this is important because depending on your location, it's going to affect things like your energy production, the installation costs, both of which are modeled in the platform. And you decide whether or not it's a solar storage project. Today, I'm just going to demo the solar side of the app. Next, you would choose when you want your module delivery to start, because pricing and availability is dependent on when the product is going to be delivered. And then you select your project size. We will make this a 25 megawatt project. It's a pretty typical project size for us. We work with customers who are doing projects down into the small single digit megawatts up to 500 megawatts. We do a lot of utility scale work. And then you choose your racking type, just whether it's single axis track or a fixed tilt. And then when it is you actually expect to make your purchase decision or issue your POs. And what it's doing now is it's running through our entire database of products, of solar modules. And then based on your particular product specifications, it's producing all of the options and then ranking them based on total value. And I'll explain to you how that works. So first, what you'll see is, again, this is a demo environment and what somebody would get if they registered for an account free on the website. If you are a paying customer, you would actually see who's making each of these different modules. But each of these rows is a different module. And if we just scroll down, you'll see just how many options Anza has in the platform. There's 61 different modules here. Wow. We have 35 suppliers who are partners with us, who participate by providing data to the platform. And through those 35 suppliers, for this particular project, there are actually 61 different module options. What the platform is doing is it is looking into our database and it's looking at the availability. And so you can see that for this particular delivery quarter, this module has 900 megawatts of availability. This availability is provided to us directly by the suppliers through the platform. It has the purchase price. So this is the price that, again, is supplied by the vendors. The modules, though, you'll note, are actually not ranked by purchase price. So you can see module 1 here, this is 24.7 cents. However, it's ranked number 1. The fourth module on here, the 660 watt, is actually 24 cents. So it's a little bit less expensive. And it's because we're doing something in Anza that we don't see anyone else doing, which is ranking products based on total value. But we're actually taking into account differences in expected installation costs. So that's what this BOS, balance of system savings, is, and differences in energy production and the value of that production over the life of the project. Then we get to this number, which is effective dollars per watt. And this is what we think the best way to look at total financial value. Each product actually has a product page with a whole lot more data on it. You can click through. Again, because it's a demo environment, you don't see the vendor, but you get data on, you can see data on the product's availability. You can see that it's a bifacial. You can see the efficiency. You can also see the mechanical and electrical specifications of the module, as well as its certifications. And then for subscribers, they can download not just the data sheet, but also the PAN file, both the manufacturer provided PAN file, a Anza diligence PAN file, and when available, third-party PAN files. This may seem trivial, but we know that buyers will spend a whole lot of time chasing down this data. The ranking table also has a number of ways that you can filter the data. So you can click only show tier 1, and we'll see that there's still a whole lot, but that the list shrank just a little bit. If you want to focus on a particular technology, for example, TopCon, and you can keep going. You can filter by domestic content, cells, or module assembly, watt class. We know that sometimes buyers have some flexibility in when they start their project. And so what the platform allows you to do is to toggle back and forth one quarter and to say, hey, what's the financial impact if I were to delay this project by a quarter? So here we'll go from a Q4 delivery to a Q1 delivery. And it didn't change a lot, but you will see that that top module will drop from 24.7 to 24 cents. Our engaged customers, our subscribers, have the ability to really dial in this analysis. So for example, here, this is the PPA rate, or the average revenue per kilowatt hour for the project. And right now it's got a default. It's defaulting to a typical DG or community solar project where it's like 10.2 cents. But if you were a utility scale project, you may be looking at a fraction of that, maybe 4 or 5 cents. And that's important because when you're deciding, do I want to pay more for, how much more can I pay for a more efficient module? Well, that depends on what your PPA rate is, because every additional megawatt hour can be worth more or less, depending if you're talking about a deal that's got, a 10 cent per kilowatt hour PPA or a 5 cent per kilowatt hour PPA. We also allow you to put in things like your escalation rate. How is this PPA going to escalate? The discount rate you use in your financial model, how many years of revenue you want to model, AC size, and these all affect those production and balance of system cost calculations. So what you see here, this is called our advanced view, and it's a user configurable data table of the modules that you filter down to in the ranking table. The user can decide what columns they want to put in here. We have various data fields related to supply chain. So we have risk around UFLPA, ACVD, subcomponents of that. We have counterparty data that we put in here. And then we have, of course, product data. Common one that's coming up more and more is hail. And so you can filter and you can rank by hail rating, or you can say, you know what, the 25 millimeters is not enough. I just want to see products that have a higher hail rating because that's what my project needs. We've also are doing a lot on risk. UFLPA risk is probably like the #1 topic, top of mind right now. Detainment risk, And so we've built an objective risk matrix that we share with our customers to rank vendors in the what we consider lowest, low, medium, or high categories for UFLPA risk. We're doing the same with AD/CVD, and we're also tracking significant data about those vendors' supply chain in terms of, for example, are they committed to using all non-Chinese poly and polysilicon in the US market? Have they provided us with a traceability audit, and are they willing to sign up for a traceability audit as part of the contract? So that's the advanced views, I think, really powerful and something that our users are really excited about. And that's actually something that we just released last month.
So there's so much to impact, more than I probably have time for in this pitch video. But I'll start with, purchasing modules on project-specific aspects, which you highlighted at the beginning. I guess, can you explain why that's so important and why a top-rated module for one project won't be rated as a top module for another?
There's been this practice developed, which is, hey, let's do once a year or once every 2 years this really big gigawatt scale procurement to buy for multiple projects. And the logic and the thinking is, well, it's easier to do one deal than a bunch of smaller deals. And then also the belief is, what, economies of scale, a big procurement is the best way to get a good deal. And we're, in almost every case, advising buyers to rethink that practice. And there are a few reasons why. One is that while there is an economies of scale and a price advantage that you get when you're going from like a few megawatts up to like around 100 or 100-ish, but once you get past 100, there's actually not a great correlation between the volume of the order and price, and that other things become much more important. And so buyers aren't necessarily getting that economies of scale that they think they are. The other two issues are, it's really hard when you're buying for multiple projects way in advance to line up the timing of delivery and the timing of those orders in a big master supply contract with when the projects will actually need the product. Buyers are having to either take inventory or renegotiate with their vendors because projects get delayed. And that is really expensive. And then the last is that projects are different. The optimum module for one project is not necessarily the optimal module for another project. And that could have to do with some of the things we talked about in the demo. For example, different PPA rates. If one project has a higher PPA rate, that actually might drive you to spend more for a more efficient module.
What is there something else unique you want to point out about your proprietary effective dollars per watt calculation?
One thing I'll just say is we put a lot of work into both the production node and the balance of system calculations. On the production node, we've done a lot of calibration to make sure that it's very, very close to the results you would get from PV-Sys. But our tool obviously has the ability to do the calculations much faster. We're doing the calculations for 61 modules, and you saw we were doing it in a matter of seconds. We also are doing a lot of diligence on the pan files that are being delivered to us from the manufacturers to make sure that the results that we get are going to be very similar to what you should expect your third-party engineer to deliver. On the balance of system side, a lot of the calculations originally came from our cost estimating tools and cost data that we had in our EPC business. So it's not theoretical, it's a real practical model. And so we'll break that down, and we'll actually show you like the unit costs and quantities and how it is that we're arriving at these differences.
So in the demo, we saw all of the ranking capabilities and all of that, and you explained the effective dollars per watt and all that. But when I get to the end then and I have my answer, what do you do after that? I click like buy. Are you handling that for me too, or what happens next?
We sign a contract with the buyer, and the buyer pays us for access to the data and technology and also the services that we wrap the whole thing in. We have a big advantage in that we have template master supply agreements with all 35 vendors. And so we can use those as a starting point, but we can also guide our customers towards what's in market, leading market, lagging market on every major contract term. And so we will really get into to it and do as much and participate as much as our customers want in the contracting process, the redlining process.
I'm just curious if you've met any resistance from anyone out there, whether it be an EPC or a BOS provider, or anyone who's maybe concerned that Anza's philosophy is maybe choosing winners and losers in a certain way.
One of the most common points of resistance we get is, hey, I just want to work with the same people. And if that's what the buyer wants to do, like, there's nothing we can do about it. But the math is what the math is. And it says if you don't look at the whole landscape, you're going to be leaving financial value on the table. If you don't consider all these risk items, you're going to be taking on unnecessary risk.
Yeah, and just you've already added a ton of new advanced functionality to it. I'm just curious, what's left? Is there anything you might add in the future, whether it be BOS components or just keep tweaking the kind of module and energy storage side of things, adding inverters?
We got a lot coming. You'll see a lot more coming from us this year. In the future, we absolutely want to add more product lines like inverters or racking or electrical components. You're not going to see any of that in 2024, but what you will see is you'll see two things. We're going to allow you to do more and more of the kind of typical RFP type process through the platform. Today, really, the platform is great at filtering, getting down to a short list, comparing, contrasting. But we're going to build in some more advanced functionality so that you can get further and further through the value stream. So that's one. And then the other is we have a whole lot of data on what's going on in the market. We actually published some of this in our quarterly, we just started a quarterly newsletter. You can subscribe for free. You can go to anzarenewables.com and find it. And we're actually publishing like pricing trends, median price curves for TopCon versus Monoperk, median price curves for tier 1 versus non-tier 1. We have a whole lot more data on pricing because of all the bids, asks, quotes, and transactions we're seeing. And so we're going to start to publish more and more of that and make it available through the platform. So our customers will get, I think, unparalleled information, data, and insight about what's like really happening in the market now.